Breaking news. The Canada Digital Harms Act, also known as Bill C-63, is a proposed piece of legislation aimed at addressing harmful content online. It primarily focuses on holding social media services accountable for reducing the exposure of users to harmful content. Oh, you mean what parents are supposed to be doing? Gotcha. So people who can't parent blame social media companies and default to daddy government to parent for them. The act proposes a new regulatory framework, including the creation of a Digital Safety Commission, an ombudsman person, and a digital safety office. Because tax dollars, am I right? Hey, we have a surplus of tax dollars. We need to spend that money and create an entire department to parent your kids. Holy shit. How much money is this going to cost? And how can you prove it's actually doing anything different? Here's a more detailed breakdown. Key provisions of the Online Harms Act, Bill C-63. Targeted harmful content. What? Why do they keep saying this word harmful content? That's so ambiguous. It's the internet, bro. Welcome to the internet, where you're going to see things that might disgust you, that might make you frustrated, that might make you sick to your stomach and be like, bro, that's crazy. I watched a video of a dude that lit himself on fire in Washington, D.C. and burned, but not to death, and was saved by someone after like a half an hour with the spraying him with the water thing, the fire extinguisher. And then the fire extinguisher sprayed him out. And then the fire started back on him because he poured so much gasoline on him. So they had to spray him again. And they had to spray him again. And he kept relighting on fire over and over and over again. And my brain was like, holy shit, I will never unsee this. While he's alive, moving around. It was crazy. And then finally the ambulance showed up, put him into the back of the ambulance, tried to save him, put breathing tubes in him and everything. And the way burning to death works is you don't actually die. It just burns your eyeball, burns everything. It ruins your skin. It's the most painful thing in the world. But one thing that happens is you don't die from it. It's just excruciating pain. And I saw that, and pardon the pun, it was burned into my brain forever for seeing that. And I was like, damn, God bless the internet for showing me what happens when retards do retarded stuff. That's crazy. Now, there are people out there that want to stop people from seeing horrific acts that happen. And I'm over here like, why? Welcome to the world. Welcome to reality, where stuff isn't always rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes it's really scary stuff out there. Sometimes it's really sad or disheartening or awful. I think it's important for perspective, for people to take that all in and be like, damn, that's crazy if someone does that. I'm glad I'm better for seeing that, knowing that that is what happens when you do that, and how important it is to have mental assistance, mental institutions, proper safety equipment around, like all these things that happen when you see something like that. They want to take that away from you, but yet all this stuff is going to keep happening or even getting worse, because the more you censor it, the less people actually understand what reality is like. That's why it's really scary when you start to censor this stuff. Anyways, I really went off on a good one there. The targeted harmful content. The act identifies 7 categories. What is this? The deadly sins here? Harmful content, including content but I mean, welcome to the internet. That's already banned everywhere. You don't need a department to ban or block that stuff. That doesn't go on the internet. What those people that put that on the internet are promptly arrested and put in prison or jail for it. What are we doing here? How prove to me that this is something that is such a rampant issue that you need to form a whole task force for it right now. Non-consensual, intimate content, aka rape, bullying of children, which, here we go. This is now stretching the definitions of what words are to be ambiguous enough to mean whatever the fuck they want. Bullying of children. Why can't people see that? Don't you think it's important to see that content and be like, yikes, that bully is a bad person. That's awful. I hope they get their comeuppance in the legal system or the school, depending on how bad it was. Content that induces self-harm in children. Prove it. What content induces self-harm in children? Because yeah, if there is content that does it, I'm all for that being blocked. That's right up there with this stuff. Yeah, of course. But that's very ambiguous. What do you mean by that? And then this one. This is the biggest one that I have an issue with. Again, hate speech. Hate speech is not a thing. Stop saying hate speech. This is not a catch-all net. It's not. There is speech that you may disagree with. You don't like how someone's talking. You might say, hey, you're a dick. Great. Guess what? The amazing country of America has that. This is Canada, by the way. America has this thing called freedom of speech where you can't do that. You can't say hate speech. Doesn't work here. People are allowed to talk how they want to talk. Now, there's a lot of bills and stuff that are coming in to try to stop that. It's like, no, at the end of the day, we have this thing called the Constitution. And it's amazing. It protects us from that kind of stuff. Content that incites violence. Again, very ambiguous. What does that even mean? If you're saying someone that is perpetuating propaganda for people that are very, very evil people or terrorism and stuff like that, then okay, fair. But again, do you need a task force? Is it really that rampant that you need a task force for this? Really? And content that incites violent extremism or terrorism. Wait, that's what this is. What's the difference between inciting violence and content that incites violent extremism or terrorism? That's the same thing. That's the same thing. Regulatory bodies. Digital Safety Commission. This commission will administer the framework, conduct audits, issue enforcement orders, and impose penalties on platforms that fail to comply. So they're not even going after the people. They're going after the platforms. So they're trying to turn the platforms into bodies that are responsible for what gets said, which is fucking insane. You can't do that. You can't expect a website to just block and protect everything. How about if you really want to push this through and get this agreed upon, that you punish the people that post the horrific thing that is illegal, that if they're posting PDF stuff, that you embrace that the person did that so that you know who did it and you can arrest them. How about that? How about instead of blocking the ability, you find the people that are doing it? Because right now what they're doing is they're going after the symptoms instead of the problem. And it's going to perpetuate. PDFs are going to PDF. It's going to happen. You can't go after the platforms and be like, you're now in charge of the PDFs. Like that's not how this works. That's insane. That's insane. The scary thing about this, by the way, it's kind of similar to what's going on in the UK right now, is if these bodies like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube is a big one. Any of these platforms are not enforcing the orders, then we have a much bigger problem, because then Canada could be like, hey, it's enforced here. They have to administer it for Canada. And just like with the UK and Stop Killing Games, they would do it there and be like, well, we're doing it there, so we're just going to put it across the entire world like this. That's what they're trying to do. That's what's scary about this, because they're trying to make rules in other countries that will now impact America, because there aren't going to be 3 different Facebook versions. They're going to just make a universal version for the lowest common denominator. That's what's scary about this. Digital Safety Ombudsperson. This individual will act as a resource for users and victims and advocate for online safety. Again, why is this all happening right now? Why are there's not even like a story to point to. You would think that there was like this crazy situation that had national headlines that was just so wild that every country together was like, that situation right there, this is why we need to lock down the internet. That never happened. They're just like ambiguously, yeah, it's just the internet. It's scary. Please stop asking about the Epstein list. We need to lock everything down. Like, what? Where is this coming from? Digital Safety Office. This office will support the commission and ombudsperson in their work. And what the fuck's ombudsperson, by the way? It's ombudsman. Is that like a gender neutral? What? These fucking people. Mentally unstable, unwell people running governments is not going to end well. Social media platform responsibilities. The Act outlines duties for social media services, such as implementing measures to mitigate risks of harmful content. There's that word again, harmful content. And by the way, when they start naming what's harmful content, that's when it gets to the long arm of the law being like, now that's harmful. Oh, we already have this entire group set up. That's harmful too. Oh, you're saying mean things about Trudeau? That's a paddling. That's what this is turning into. And ensuring content that harms children is inaccessible. Like what? Secondly, as a parent, speaking of 2 young kids, what is on the internet that I should be worried about? Tell me. Please tell me. I'm genuinely interested. While the Act, here's the age verification thing. While the Act doesn't mandate age verification, trust me, it will. It does require platforms to take steps to protect children online, which may include age-appropriate design features. Amendments to Criminal Code. The Act proposes amendments to Criminal Code to include a definition of hatred. Good. Let's get a definition of that. Based on existing court interpretations to address hate speech. Okay, so all those, whatever court interpretations identify hate speech, all those need to be thrown out. None of those have a leg to stand on. There is no such thing as hate speech. There's just speech that you don't like. There is no hate speech. Sorry. Like, people are allowed to say what they want to say. If you don't like what they say, fucking deal with it. That's not hate speech, bro. That's just people talking. There's some people that are unwell out there that say crazy things. You know what you can do to them? Ignore them. Welcome to the world. Instead, they're trying to do a whole lock everything down. We want to control, because our fifis are hurt. We want to control how you think so that we control what you say, so that ultimately we control how you feel. And when you vote for us, you are pre-programmed to understand what we want you to think. The New World Order is being pushed forward right now. And it's so obvious, right? Out in front of everyone to see. It's disgusting. Private messaging. The Act excludes private messaging features of regulated services from its scope, which is wild to me because that's one of those things you think they'd focus on with kids. Private messaging. Wait, what? Reporting requirements. The Act clarifies reporting requirements for internet ISPs are going to be reporting it. Oh, God. So now we're going back to the ISPs are going to be reporting stuff. Yikes. Yikes. That is a massive invasion of privacy. I'm more one of those people where if someone is out in public and especially in government and speaking in ways that defend PDFs or allude to that, I would argue we need a law for that's a hard drive check right there. That gives us a warrant to just go through your entire house. That's what I'm for. I'd be on board for that one more than whatever the hell this is. It's kind of like the obvious, like, just reality check test. If you don't strike me as a PDF, you're probably fine. If you're saying crazy shit and you're out there pushing the propaganda, that's a hard drive check. And if we find something, then you go to jail for it. I like that a lot better. In essence, the Online Harms Act aims to create a safer online environment. Oh, God, we'll see how bad that fails. Holding social media platforms accountable for harmful content. Yikes. Like this is the biggest takeaway from all of it. Establishing new regulatory bodies to oversee online safety. Protecting children from online harms. Again, as a dad, what online harms? What happens? Let me know. What happens? What as a dad, being a parent, without the government coming into my world, what should I be worried about? What should I be looking out for that is so concerning to you that you're creating this entire governing body for it? What is it? Maybe I can do that myself. What is it? Maybe we can send some tax money back to people. What is it? Defining and addressing hate speech, which, by the way, that is like the search for the fountain of youth. It doesn't exist. There is no fucking hate speech. Again, they would define this video as hate speech if they watched it. Think about that. The bill is currently at second reading in the House of Commons and is subject to further debate and potential amendments. And because we just went through the whole entire overview, I'm not going to read through this here, but this is the official act from the justice.gc.ca in Canada. And yikes, guys. Feel free to check this out. I will link this as well in the description if you want to read through all this hate speech. I mean, if you quantify hate speech, I'm allowed to say that what you're saying is hate speech because I think you hate me for this as a dad. This is hate speech to me. That's, by the way, the people that want to quantify what hate speech is always forget that there are two sides to that sword. It's a double-edged sword where if you're allowed to say something's hate speech, I'm allowed to say what you're saying is hate speech. And that's why it never works. So with that, I'll leave that there.